Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Marcellus Wiley in a joyful, great day back from my Vegas vacation. Emmanuel Ocho over there.
You were gone for 2 days. How was that vacation?
Man, you should have seen what I was up to, man. I was meeting them. I was greeting them. I was cheering.
Who are them?
Basketball players.
Okay.
A lot of basketball players out there.
Good to know.
A lot of young money out there. How you doing, Ocho?
I'm Gucci.
Your voice good?
It's all good.
Watch me get him today, y'all. He can't talk. Let's get started in Buffalo, where my Bills and Josh Allen agreed to a 6-year, $258 million with a $150 million guarantee. Woo, that's the most guaranteed money in NFL history and puts Allen's average salary at $43 million. This is great news for Allen and for us. And other quarterbacks looking for extensions like Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson. However, Ravens head coach John Harbaugh said today that Allen's deal won't impact the timing of Lamar's looming extension. So I'll show. Should Lamar Jackson get more money than Josh Allen?
So he absolutely should get more money, but the question then becomes, will he earn the money?
That's not there. Right there, that little bottom bar says one question.
Yes. Okay, the answer is yes.
Let's move on.
Lamar Jackson should get more money because he deserves more money.
Yes.
But even speaking beyond what an individual deserves, we always remember the person who comes after is the person who gets paid.
Yeah.
You don't got to be better. Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson got more money than Mahomes, depending on where you look at the years. He came after. Dak Prescott got more money than Deshaun Watson. He came after. Josh Allen, gonna get more money than Dak Prescott. He comes after. So, yes, Lamar Jackson will make more than Josh Allen, and he should get more than Josh Allen because thus far, at the point in payday, Lamar Jackson has technically, and it is a technicality, but Lamar Jackson has technically done more than Josh Allen. And because he has technically done more than Josh Allen based off of the technicality, I'm going to get to that later.
You say that a little too often. Hey, what you trying to do? Don't be trying to dig in them weeds.
Because he has technically done more than Josh Allen, he should get more money than Josh Allen. But the question I really got to answer, and is will he earn the money that he gets?
Oh, man, come on now. Look, you could be on the roof. You could be in a helicopter. You could be in an airplane. You could be in one of those SpaceX things. I don't give a damn what height you look at this from, or you can get in the weeds like you. Technicality. No matter what you say about this, Lamar Jackson deserves more money than Josh Allen. And he will get more money. Why? Because, one, he's better than Josh Allen. And this is tough for me. Let's be real. You ask me which one of my kids I love more, because Josh Allen's my baby. That's my brother from another. And, boy, Lamar Jackson's my dog. Justin Herbert's sitting over there, too, so you really ain't gonna pick me. The point is, I love both of these guys the same. But I do know that one of them has done more in the NFL with their experience. Let's just be real about who Lamar Jackson is. First of all, put some respect on his name. I ain't hear you say it once. Unanimous MVP. How many other ones in this world? Oh, they're not other ones. There's other one. one. And he's a GOAT. It's a GOAT in Lamar Jackson. And you over here talking about technicality. Boy, you better stop. Josh Allen looking at Lamar Jackson like, damn, if I could be someone not me, it will be Lamar Jackson. Because if you look at them head-to-head in their comparisons, win percentage, Lamar Jackson wins that. Points per game, Lamar Jackson, the guy who can't throw, got that. Passer rating, the guy who can't throw, got that. Passing and rushing yards per game, Lamar Jackson combined, got that. Touchdown to interception ratio, Lamar Jackson, got that. Like, I love me some Josh Allen, but the way that this plays is Josh Allen is getting better every year, where Lamar Jackson hit the ground running, saving a franchise, saving a team, saving an organization. John Harbaugh was about to lose his job. Joe Flacco had these dudes out there floundering, and Lamar Jackson said, I'll save y'all. Whereas Josh Allen, they kind of grew together. So to me, this is not really difficult. It's the one who's better and who's coming after. It's Lamar Jackson.
So you're not wrong. You're not. But here's a pushback.
Okay.
See, Josh Allen has a very good argument that at his best, he's better than Lamar at his best individually. And at his best, his team is better than Lamar's at their best collectively. See, they both had peak seasons. Lamar Jackson was unanimous MVP during his peak season, in large part because of Lamar Jackson, but also because the competition did not exceed like it did this past year. Look at them both at their peak seasons. Josh Allen had more total yards a game. He had more total touchdowns. He obviously also had more giveaways. However, we live in an offensive league, so Josh Allen had a better offensive output in his best season last year than Lamar Jackson did in his unanimous MVP season. Both of them are incredible players. Let's make no mistake about it. We are obviously splitting hairs. That's what we do on opinionated shows. So keep your opinions of our opinions to yourself.
I like
Josh Allen at his best, you could argue, better than Lamar at his best. Now, talk about the playoffs. Because Josh Allen at his best, his team went to an AFC championship game.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson at his best, his team won a playoff game. So Lamar should get more money because thus far he technically has done more. Technically, he has a unanimous MVP, which Josh Allen does not. But I said it's a technicality because Josh Allen's season was actually just as good as Lamar's unanimous MVP season, but Josh Allen does not have the 3 letters next to his name like Lamar Jackson does.
Don't do that.
So I think Lamar should get more, but Josh Allen will likely earn more afterwards.
No, look, we're not going to. First of all, when we speed through these accolades and accomplishments, it's not showing respect to what they really are. 2019 unanimous MVP. I want you to say it slowly, brother. 2019 unanimous MVP. How old was he when he was the MVP? 22 years young. Golly. The youngest quarterback to ever do that. And you want to tell me about technicality?
So I have
Is
to,
that
Phil.
a technicality?
Let me do this. Let me do this.
All of them ever?
Here's why.
Okay,
I will shame myself in making my point, can I? The Emmy Awards are coming up. We were just talking about this offset, September 19th.
Shout out to Sid, the entertainer, my dog. Saw you yesterday. You're hosting.
His dog hosting the joint. The primetime Emmy Awards are coming up September 19th. And when your boy's been nominated.
You're nominated. I know both of y'all.
It's not the point. It's not the point. When I was looking at the different nominations, I was like, wait a second. This show isn't nominated. That show isn't nominated. This show isn't nominated. What the heck is going on? But then you realize in order to qualify for a nomination, you had to have put out some content from June of 2020 to June of 2021.
Oh, mine was in May. Damn.
It was a COVID year. So it was a down year. So other people, great shows, obviously, maybe even me, are getting nominated because of a down year of COVID. I say that to say Lamar Jackson is a unanimous MVP.
Okay.
But it was a down year in the NFL when he won his unanimous MVP. There wasn't Aaron Rodgers doing ridiculous things. If Rodgers would have had his season that he had when Lamar had his season, it wouldn't have been unanimous because Josh Allen's season was just as good as Lamar's season. And Josh Allen had what? A couple votes. So with all that being said, it's not to say that he doesn't deserve his MVP, because if I win an Emmy Award, ain't nobody going to say I don't deserve it. But I'm not so ignorant as to not acknowledge it was a down year.
Oh, really?
A lot of people could not have created content. Sure, my content was great, like Lamar Jackson's content is great, but you got to be cognizant of, to be unanimous is also dependent upon what other people do around you.
Look, I'm going to applaud you for your humility, finally. I've been waiting a year and a half for it, damn it. And people are going to applaud as well. But however, in this down year, you're trying to make this a COVID football year almost, but it wasn't. Was Aaron Rodgers playing football? Was he out?
He was.
Josh Allen, was he, in the NFL or oh, he was? So this down year is based on y'all. To me, this is the dude that walks up to me after, I won national championships in track and was like, oh, man, I ran faster than you in the city meet. And I'm looking at him with my gold medal on. I was like, you know what happened when you saw me, though, right? Well, I'm faster than you. Bruh, it don't matter what you did over here in that year and this time and this team. Right now, we line up. I want to talk about these conditions, and you know that from our track experience. When you line up and hear the gun go, that's what matters most. 2019, the gun went off, and Lamar Jackson won that race. Also, Lamar Jackson, since you want to give me some parsing of the numbers, you really want to go deep into these weeds, is there a Stephon Diggs level receiver on the Baltimore Ravens? No. But you want to keep telling me, well, his offense is better. Well, his offensive talent surrounding him may be better as well. So I don't want to get into those. I want to get into the aggregate. I want to get into the accomplishments. I want to get into the accolades. I want to separate these two from them both being in the race, but someone doing better for longer. It's just that simple. Look at this. In his down year, people said he fell off 2019 to 2020. 2% in completion percentage off a unanimous MVP campaign. Yards per pass is still right there, 0.5 difference. You can see his touchdown-interception ratio pretty comparable. Rushing touchdowns the exact same. What are we talking about? Why do we go at Lamar Jackson like this? I tell you why. Because he hit the ground running. And once again, if you start off too fast, people have absurd expectations for you. When he went out there and won that MVP campaign, everybody tried their hardest. All the greats. The GOAT was still in the conversation. However, one guy finished. We can't diminish that. Now Josh Allen has a tremendous season himself. One, could be an anomaly, could be just a continuation of his perfection and projection. All I'm saying is Lamar Jackson's going to get more money. One, because he's coming after him. That's simple. And two,
that's simple.
He actually better than the dude.
He is. No,
okay.
I'm not saying that Lamar Jackson is not better. Okay. What I'm saying is it is a very, very, very close race, and people aren't just going to act like Lamar's significantly better. Let's just look at the last 2 seasons.
Let's go.
Right? Because I don't got to make my opinions. The stats speak for themselves. Lamar Jackson is 2 yards better than Josh Allen in the last 2 seasons. He's 2 touchdowns better than Josh Allen in the last 2 seasons, and he's 8 giveaways better than Josh Allen in the last 2 seasons. 2 touchdowns over the course of 32 games is what? He accounts for 0.02 touchdown more, maybe 0.01 touchdown.
Well, why don't you do his whole career, this last 2 season stuff?
Because what have you done for me now, not what have you done for me in life.
Okay.
But most importantly, again, we always credit Josh Allen had Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs only averaged 900 yards a year before Josh Allen. 1,500 last year.
Yeah?
He had 1,100 with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, a 4,900-yard passer. He had 1,100 yards with Kirk Cousins the prior season, 1,500 with Josh Allen. So roughly a 30% increase. So it's not just that Stephon Diggs made Josh Allen better. Josh Allen also made Stephon Diggs better. So you almost have to ask yourself, Lamar Jackson, he does need more help. But does Lamar Jackson need to help those more as well? Because what we've been doing this whole time for Lamar's career, because of how great Lamar is, we said, Greg Roman, he's not good enough. His receivers, they're not good enough. He needs more help from the defense, force more turnovers. But wait a second now. Josh Allen just turned Stephon Diggs from a 924-yard-a-year receiver to a 1,500-yard-a-year receiver. He turned Cole Beasley from a very good slot receiver. I played against Cole Beasley. I think Cole Beasley's phenomenal, but he got no accolades. To Cole Beasley, a second-team All-Pro wide receiver. Cole Beasley been in the league about 10 years now. He ain't got no All-Pro votes before. He teamed up with Josh Allen, All-Pro. Stephon Diggs, been in the league 6 years now. He ain't get the credit that he's deserved before. He ain't been no first-team All-Pro. Teamed up with Josh Allen, first-team All-Pro. So maybe it's actually Josh Allen who's causing everybody else to elevate their game. Lamar Jackson is incredible. We've established that. He's a unanimous MVP. But rather than looking at everybody else to blame for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens' shortcomings, why don't we say, you know what, Lamar Jackson? It's time for you to make everybody else elevate as well.
I love you so much that I have to also make sure I fact-check everything you say, because I believe you on face value until I realized that Stephon Diggs was getting better every single year for the past 3 years before he even met up with Josh Allen. So we saw this coming.
But not like that. Not like
And then he get Cole Beasley over there taking some of the attention. And yeah, now Cole Beasley's getting what? MVP votes or whatever it may be, all-pro consideration. He ain't gonna get it no more if he don't get vaccinated. You better go easy. He ain't gonna be playing this year. Let me stop. Here's the thing about it. Y'all be looking at Lamar Jackson like he normal, bruh. Patrick Mahomes, is he normal? No. Aaron Rodgers, is he normal? No. Well, why is Lamar Jackson the only other quarterback in the same conversation with him, since you want to go to the last 2 seasons? I hate slicing somebody's career up, but let's do it. Only quarterbacks with 25 or more touchdown passes and 10 or fewer interceptions last 2 seasons. Aaron Rodgers? Patrick Mahomes, and who else? Who else? The one that can't throw. Lamar Jackson. What are y'all talking about here? Josh Allen been playing the last 2 seasons. Oh, you want some more? You want some more ribs? Let's give you some more ribs. Who was the first quarterback in NFL history with back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons? It ain't Josh Allen, and Josh Allen can run. Don't let the paint job fool you. It's Lamar Jackson once again. Who has the 6th most rushing yards of any player in the NFL, including running backs? Lamar Jackson, dog. This dude Voltron, man. This dude is different. Give him his flowers.
I've given him his flowers. I've said this before. I will say this again.
Say it.
Lamar Jackson is a top 5 running back in the NFL while simultaneously being a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. In case y'all fast forward and just now tuning in, he's a top 5 running back, Lamar Jackson, while simultaneously being a top 5 quarterback. The cause for pause is he's great, but so is Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes came in and won a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers is great, like Lamar Jackson. Rodgers has won his Super Bowl. So Mahomes had some issues. Mahomes' running game was 26th in the NFL the year he won the Super Bowl. The defense had some issues. Up through week 11, the Chiefs' defense the year they won the Super Bowl was porous at best. So Lamar Jackson, his team has some woes and they have some issues. I think it's just a matter of why are you 1-2, if I am not mistaken, in the playoffs? Sooner or later, we have to start to look at if he is that great, unanimous MVP great, which he is, we got to start to see the team accolades follow.
Oh, okay, but Aaron Rodgers took him 6 years to win his Super Bowl. 3 of them, he wasn't playing at all. But hey, who said that? The point is, you give this guy some runway.
3 years for Rodgers.
One hand.
2 years for Mahomes.
Yeah, but one hand tied behind his back.
1.5 for Brady.
Who had Greg Roman? Anybody? How many Super Bowls had Greg Roman OC'd? Let me stop this. Let me end this with this. Who has the second best regular season win percentage in the Super Bowl
Obviously
era?
Lamar.
Obviously Lamar. That's special, man. Let's end with this. What my boy Max Kellerman told me, and I think this is the way we got to evaluate this, like we do all boxing matches. People always want to argue over the points. Who won that round? Who won that round? Who's better? Who would you rather be? Would you rather be Josh Allen or would you rather be Lamar Jackson? See how your face looks right now, homeboy? You'd rather be Lamar Jackson, not an NFL player alive. And this is no slight to Josh Allen. Is sitting there saying, I'd rather be Josh Allen to this point than Lamar Jackson.
To this point.
To this point?
Yes, sir.
That's it. End of the conversation. Coming up, LeBron and the Lakers have been building a super team this offseason, and according to Charles Barkley, hurting LeBron's legacy in the process. Interesting. But first, Baker Mayfield says he doesn't give a damn about his contract extension right now. Boy, stop. We'll tell you if we're buying that next. Don't speak for yourself. The Browns picked up Baker Mayfield's 5th-year option earlier this offseason and recently signed running back Nick Chubb to a 3-year extension. But it appears Baker may enter the 2021 NFL season without a long-term deal in place. Mayfield was asked about the timeline for negotiations. Take a listen.
I'm not doing the negotiations, so quite frankly, I don't give a damn. I'm worried about winning week 1, then going on to week 2 and focusing on that week, 1 week at a time. And that's my mindset. So no matter how many times I get asked this question throughout the year, it's going to be the same answer because that's just the truth.
Acho, you buying Baker Mayfield doesn't give a damn about extension talks with the Browns?
I absolutely am. Let's think about who Baker Mayfield is. He's not like you. He's not like me. He's not like the majority of those that play the game of football. Baker Mayfield did not care that he had no scholarship offer. He just went to Texas Tech. Baker Mayfield did not care that he did not have the starting job. He just went to Oklahoma. Baker Mayfield did not care about an individual accolade. He just won the Heisman. And then finally, he obviously did care about being the #1 overall pick. Baker Mayfield has lived a life of not verbally caring because he simply lets his work and his actions do the talking. So why would Baker change now? Why would Baker now choose this opportunity to care about his contract when he's never cared about the results? He cares about the process and watches the results take care of themselves. So I don't think Baker's concerned about a contract extension.
Boy, stop.
Because if you focus on the outcome, you forget the process and you never see the outcome that you want. So Baker's simply like, you know what? I'm going to focus on the process. 1 day at a time, like I did when I was a walk-on, became the starter. I'm going to focus on the process 1 day at a time, like I did when I was a backup, became the starter. I'm going to focus on the process 1 day at a time and watch myself win a Heisman Trophy. Baker ain't got to count his coins. We can count them for him.
That was well stated. Poetic. You lying like him, too. But I will take your word and respect it. But I'm not going to take Baker Mayfield's word because he's the author of this book. And in this book, when I'm trying not to judge it by its cover, so I'm opening it up and I'm listening to him. And now I'm calling BS. I'm going to use Baker Mayfield's words against him, and you tell me if this is real or fake. Here's the first one. I'm not doing the deal, so I don't give a damn. Your agent works for you. Your agent is just echoing what you've done on the field. All this is a highlighter. He's a human highlighter. He walks into a room and says all the great things about you, and then he ducks because they're going to say all the bad stuff about you, right? But that's who your agent is. You're doing your deal through your agent, but all of the things your agent's going to do for your deal has been done by you on the field. Let's be real about that. These decisions are yours to make, Baker Mayfield, but you're saying you have nothing to do with the deal since you're not doing it, you don't give a damn. BS number 1. What do you gain out of telling people you don't care about your livelihood? I just don't understand this false humility, like, oh, yeah, it's going to take care of itself. Shut up. I need to see his group text. I swear I need somebody to let me in on this. What is it, national security? Let me see his group text. I guarantee you he's sweating this. He should be. Here's the second thing. Tell me if you call BS or not. Quote, I don't have a timeline on it. You so focused on what? You say the process that you don't care about the outcome? We ain't got to count your call. You don't have a timeline on it. So, Baker, in 5 years, you ain't got a deal done. You good? Oh, I hate when people lie like that, dog. Say, look, My focus is different than this. And I respect what Baker Mayfield is trying to say. He's trying to say the right things, but he's saying it the wrong way. So, like I tell everyone, there's one thing in common between being selfish and selfless. What is that, Acho? Self. It's okay to prop yourself up first. When somebody this used to happen to me in like college, and especially in the pros. I love you more than, stop it. Don't say that, girl. I love you more. No, you don't. You can't love me more than you. The capacity to do anything starts with you. So when Baker Mayfield doesn't put himself first in these conversations, I know he's BSing. That said, he's going to get his contract. That said, Baker Mayfield is putting himself in the prime position to get paid $40+ million. That said, you still don't have to go out there and lose your sophistication in talking about your contract situation. Say it the right way, which is either abort the conversation because you're going to lie or talk through it properly. But saying you don't care, saying it ain't on you, saying you don't care when it gets done, BS, bro.
But, Sel, you know the phrase in the game of football we always use in the locker room, on the field, on the bench, on the sidelines. You can't win the game in one play.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Right.
All that simply means is that ain't no point in trying to go for broke on the next play because you win the game over the course of plays.
Okay.
There's no point in worrying about a contract extension when it's not your contract year. Like, Baker's only going on year 4. So even after he plays out this year, they can pick up, if they haven't already, that 5th-year option. Y'all remind me if they have or have not. We talk a lot on this show. So, yes, they've already picked up the 5th-year joint. So with that being said, why are you going to worry about a contract extension, a 6-7-year contract extension? You're not in your contract year. It's like the game 1 of the NBA season. They're not worried about the NBA championship. Win the game. And then win the division, and then be the 1 seed. In the game, September 12th, I believe, the NFL season kicks off. Maybe September 9th, that Thursday, something like that. You ain't worried about winning a Super Bowl. Worried about winning that game, Cowboys. Worried about winning that game, Bucks. Worried about winning that game. You're not trying to win a Super Bowl in early September. In the same breath, Baker's like, I got 2 more years, minimum, until my contract is up. Why am I going to worry about something that's going to happen in 5 or 6 years from now, a contract extension, when I still got 2 years to worry about? You can't win a game in one play, and you can't extend a contract today.
Yeah, I love that lesson you just gave, because that applies somewhere in this world, but not in this Baker conversation. Because the question is, does he give a damn? Baker does give a damn. He gives a damn. You don't give a damn because it's week 1 and you're like, we trying to win a Super Bowl, but we're not going to focus on it. We don't give a damn about the Super Bowl. You give a damn, but you got old school focus. Baker has old school focus. 1 dot on the wall. Football, week 1, that's it. Hold on, bruh. New school focus. 1,000,000 dots on the wall. 17 dots on the wall. Week 1 through week 17. We know which ones to prioritize, but we see them all. Man, he's an active player. You're a former player. You don't have to have your contract up to be thinking about your contract. Let me tell you how defensive ends think. They think in terms of $1 million per sack. Now it's probably $2 million a sack. But it used to be, I used to hear it on the field. Sometimes I would say it. You sack a quarterback, million. Like, you would be giggling like, you get 10 sacks, oh, back in those days, that's $10 million. Now it's $20 to $30 million. Point being, we're thinking that, but that's not our driving force. But we do give a damn. I don't like that extreme. Maybe it's hyperbole. Maybe I'm being too literal. But when I hear someone say they don't give a damn about something they give a damn about, that's what makes me step back.
I think he doesn't, because what does Baker focusing on his contract extension do for him today? Absolutely nothing. It's like, you've been in a situation where maybe you had lower back pain, maybe you had your knee started to hurt you. Of course, yeah, you had a surgery on the joint.
Lower back surgery.
Until you go to the doctor, until you go to the physician, until you see the nurse practitioner, until you do whatever it is that you do, ain't no point in worrying about it. Because worrying about it ain't going to do nothing for you until you can get to the results.
That could be a warning sign you better address.
No,
it can snowball.
I'm saying it's not that you're not going to address it, but you're going to concern about it once you actually get there and you figure out what is wrong.
Well, you
can't worry in advance.
So
if Baker, he's not going to worry in advance. He can't do anything.
No, did you go to a school that gave you progress reports?
I think that stopped after they
stopped for us too. That was anxiety. I was like, what the hell? It's only 5 weeks in. You already gave me a grade? Progress reports, midterm reports, final semester grades, right? You trying to tell me that, since it ain't the final semester grade, who gives a damn? I don't give a damn about the progress report. You should. Because, look, if someone in your draft class that was drafted after you, Josh Allen, and drafted after you, Lamar Jackson next, gets their report cards and they're better than yours and they getting paid for it, you don't give a damn? Man, look, if that was my son, I'd say, look, bro, don't let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater. Let's not condemn ourselves. Let's not feel down. But trust me, we could be more up than we are in this position. You want them knocking at your door the second they can give you money and throwing it at you. Baker Mayfield's not in that position, not this offseason, and that's not okay. He was the #1 overall pick. Have some damn pride, bro. Give a damn.
Let's put it like this, Sal. We got to talk cards. I know you did. I know you did. We talking enough spades at this point.
I was just in Vegas.
We was playing. Oh, we weren't playing spades.
No, I wasn't playing.
Okay, spades, America. The big joker. It's the trump card. The big joker is the highest card, and the little joker, et cetera, depending on who you play with and how you play. With that being said, if you got the big joker, if you got that face, and you look at that face, and you know on that face is a trump card, you don't really care what goes on early in the game. Because at the end of the day, you know that the face in which you hold is greater than any other card and is of greater value. So people throw out the king of spades, the queen of spades. They start giggling because they're like, oh, I got this ace for him. But you chilling. You don't care because you know the face that you hold is greater than the others. Baker knows the same thing within the Browns organization. Their #1 overall picks on that team, Myles Garrett. But Baker's the face of that franchise. #1 overall picks on that team, Jadeveon Clowney. But Baker's the face of that franchise. There are mega stars on that team, global stars, Odell Beckham. But Baker's the face of that franchise. Baker doesn't have to care about his contract extension because he knows the face in which he holds, his own, is the trump card. So at the end of the day, the contract's going to take care of itself. People, Josh Allen, play that little king of spades.
Oh, really?
Lamar Jackson.
Oh, really?
Play that ace of spades, you know what I'm saying? You know, y'all can play all these other cards, but Baker realizes the face that he holds is greater than all the other faces. So why should he care about what precedes him? Trump card.
Man, I don't know what kind of spades you play. I don't know how many big jokers they dealt out. I thought it was only one in the deck, but you playing, what you, butcher
One
in the deck?
big one.
One big one, yeah. Last time I checked, right now, that's Lamar Jackson. That's the big joker. Now, you can say it's Josh Allen because he already got his money. Okay, well, then the little joker is Lamar. Baker, king of spades. He in Miami doing this. He's the king of spades. He's tricking. Here's the thing. I want you to understand, you keep telling me to focus on the process and not the outcome. Well, let's process this. How many Pro Bowls has Baker been to? How many winning seasons? Oh, let me take that S off the third S. Season. How many playoff appearances? You want to know why they waiting? Because they trying to figure out who he is. But please give a damn while we trying to figure this out, Baker. You ain't got to lie. You ain't got to lie, Craig. Coming up, LeBron's Lakers added a former MVP and a future Hall of Famer. I see ya. We'll tell you if that takes away from LeBron's legacy next on Speak for Yourself. Damn big joke. Thursday, the Yankees and White Sox traveled to Iowa in sight of the most beloved baseball movie of all time to play an historic regular season matchup on the real Field of Dreams. You won't want to miss it. MLB Field of Dreams game presented by Geico. Coverage begins Thursday, 6 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. LeBron and the Lakers have reloaded the roster this offseason, adding a former MVP in Russell Westbrook. Shout out to Westbrook. I saw him this weekend, West, y'all. A future Hall of Famer in Carmelo Anthony, my dog, and a bunch of other quality vets trying to win a ring. Charles Barkley thinks super teams like the Lakers are the real reason Michael Jordan will always be better than LeBron. Take a listen.
The reason I put Michael up there before those other guys, LeBron has stacked his teams. Let's be realistic. What Giannis and Dirk Nowitzki, guys like that, especially Giannis is the perfect example, to go through the grind and to lose, which Michael did. When I was watching that documentary, I was like, damn, I forgot how bad the Pistons beat him up. The struggle is part of your legacy.
Got to bring in Fox NBA analyst Slick Rick to Bucher Badachos. Should super teams be a knock on LeBron's legacy?
They shouldn't, but they will. And the reason that they will is because we just live in a lazy society, a society that just reads the headlines and doesn't like to read the article. The headlines will say LeBron James had to form super teams to win. But the article will tell you about the economy of the time, which forced LeBron James to form super teams in order to win. The headline might tell you that Matt Ryan passed for more yards than John Elway. But the article will tell you that back in those days of playing ball, the passing game was not nearly as prolific around. The headline will not tell you that LeBron James had to create a super team, because a super team, the Boston Celtics, existed before him. The headline will tell you LeBron James had to form a super team. And the Lakers, because the likes of the Warriors and the likes of the Brooklyn Nets formed super teams before him. LeBron James' super team creation has always been reactive, not proactive. LeBron James didn't jump into the league looking for super teams. There were no super teams then. You had the Phoenix Suns playing great back in the 04s. You had the Dallas Mavericks playing great. On the other side, you had the Pistons playing great. The Lakers tried and failed one year, forming a super team with the aging Karl Malone and the aging Gary Payton. But LeBron James didn't have to go against super teams, thus he did not need a super team. That was not the economy then. But the NBA's economy right around 2007 changed into forming super teams. LeBron James didn't at first. He said, it's all good. I'm going to keep doing it my way. But then he started to read the articles. And the articles said super teams are on the horizon. And if you want to win, you must form a super team. So like the wise, cognitive individual, but the wiser and cognitive basketball player that LeBron James is, he said, you know what? It's time to go ahead and form a super team. So he should not get knocked for forming super teams, but he will.
I'm not going to argue with any of that, Acho eloquently said, except that don't just read the article or a article. Read articles. Definitely don't just read the headline, but read multiple sources. And to your point, I am not going to knock him because he built super teams, but I'm also not going to give him extra credit as a player in and of himself because he learned to game the system. And that's what he ultimately did. He went to 4 different teams, and he got them to utilize all their resources in order to build a team specifically to take advantage of his particular skill set and strengths. And then the second that team started to fall off, he moved to the next team. What do we often, when we most often compare LeBron and Michael Jordan, and if we are giving LeBron credit for being greater than Michael Jordan, it's generally because he went to 10 NBA finals, and Michael only went to 6. 6 for 6, 4 for 10, but come on, 10 NBA finals. That's extraordinary in today's era by anyone. But he could not have done that if he had stayed in one place. And so I don't see that as a reflection of his greatness. And I don't take away anything, the fact that he's utilized gathering great players in order to chase championships. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I also am not going to connect that with his individual greatness as a player, whether it's a businessman, a GM, whatever you want, a visionary. I'll give him credit for that, but not when it comes to comparing the two as players.
Oh, my goodness. This should not be a knock on LeBron's legacy. It will not be a knock on LeBron's legacy as long as I have a voice, a microphone, and an opinion. Let me tell you why. Every team has been a super team that's been in contention, minus the Dallas Mavericks that year. Every team, basically. And I'm going to give you some facts to support that. If you ain't got a super team, you ain't got a super chance of winning the championship. Let's be real. It's just about who gets the credit. So in modern NBA times, we're saying it's super team because it's about a player. But back in the days, it was about a general manager, so we didn't call it anything. Just a man going to work doing a 9-to-5 called general manager duties. But let's talk about the 1971 Lakers or the 1972 Lakers that had a combined 28 and 29 all-NBA appearances on their team. 28 and 29. You know how many LeBron James had on his team last year when they won the championship? 27. Anybody? Anybody? Okay, it got quiet right there. Fewer all-NBA appearances on their team. Let's talk about the Lakers in the 80s, Showtime, that had 5 different players selected to All-Star games and 7 Hall of Famers. Let's talk about the Celtics, 9 Hall of Famers, 7 All-Stars. Let's talk about the Bulls of the 90s. 5 Hall of Famers and 4 different All-Stars. And we want to talk about super teams now? Well, we are a little late to this conversation. Oh, because it's the general manager's job to do that and not a player. How dare a player go out there and stir up the pot? Let me tell you what's happening here, because a lot of labor unions discuss this. I was a former player rep, so I saw this infighting as well. What happens here is labor hates labor. So most people that are the audience on Twitter, people at the barbershop, are labor. They're not employers, they're employees. They're not running the show. So what they do is point the finger at another player who's an employee for trying to do something that they should be pointing the finger upstairs about. Here's a case in point. I went to the Chargers' new stadium yesterday, SoFi Stadium, amazing. And it's funny, you can always hear someone complaining when a player doesn't make a play. Oh, he's overpaid. Oh, this bum. Oh, why you give him that big contract? You hear that all the time, right? But then you see that same person in line, and now you go to the stadium, you got to use your credit card. You can't even bring cash. And they're buying a $743 Bud Light. And they're paying $3,000 for some seats in the 5th tier. And they're sitting there paying $100 in parking. And no one complaining about the billionaire dudes eating more than these millionaire players. It's the same mindset and philosophy. For some reason, when a player does it, when an employee does it, when labor does it, we want all heaven to fall down on them. But when they do it, we just turn a blind eye.
But, Sel, I think it's because a manager's job is to manage, and a player's job is to play.
That's not properly defined.
And if the manager was walking on the court shooting hoops, we'd probably look at him kind of differently. When a player starts to act in managerial duties, we look at them a little bit differently, because a player is now stepping out of the boundaries of which he is supposed to operate. We have to define super team. Personally, y'all know me. I like creating a definition that I think makes sense for the sake of speaking in this conversation. When I think about super team, I think of more than two non-homegrown stars. Like, I can't classify, and let me look at my dog Slick Rick, let me look at my historian. I can't classify the Spurs as a super team. I want to. I grew up in Dallas, Mavericks fan, Filthy Finley, Dirty Dirk, Nasty Nash. The Spurs kept them from multiple titles. But all the Spurs stars were homegrown. They have 4 future Hall of Famers and a Hall of Fame head coach. That screams super team. But they were all drafted to San Antonio. The Warriors, before KD, I don't classify them as a super team. They had 3 future Hall of Famers, Clay, Steph, Draymond, Hall of Fame head coach. But it wasn't until they started to bring other superstars that I now say super team. Brooklyn Nets, they bring James Harden, they bring Kevin Durant. LeBron James, they weren't a super team when he had AD. But when he had AD and Russell Westbrook, now super team. So, I just had to make that clarification or qualification, if you will, so we can get on somewhat of a similar page. LeBron James, he will get knocked for it because, to Slick Rick's point, you'll look around and you'll say, wait a second, Bron went to L.A., he went to Cleveland, he went to Miami, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Jordan just stayed in one spot. But LeBron was simply operating in the same economy of the day in which he was playing, and he shouldn't get clowned for it.
Yeah, this is the difficulty for me, and I'm glad you gave us a number of those. You saved me some time, Acho, and the number of teams that don't qualify necessarily as super teams. I don't like that Charles is taking us down this rabbit hole, because the creation of super teams in today's day and age is not the only variable between the eras of Jordan and LeBron. The style of play is completely different. The size of the players is completely different. The salary cap is different. The rules are different. And so taking something like the mechanics of how teams are built creates a variable that, yes, that wasn't the case in Jordan's day and age, in part because of the salary cap, in part because of the mindset. But Marcellus, this idea that if you're going to count Hall of Famers or you're going to count all NBA selections, the problem is that a number of those players received that acknowledgement or that achievement because they were part of a championship team. They weren't necessarily viewed as Hall of Famers or all NBA players prior to winning a championship, but because of the glow of being part of that success seems to elevate everyone in how we perceive them, they then became Hall of Famers. They were credited with that. I don't know if you took them just as an individual and put them on another team that they would have been looked at in the same light. So I can't quite look at it that way. And then just the number of teams that we look after the fact. I mean, people are now saying the Milwaukee Bucks, in a way, are a super team, or they got a big three because of Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Why? Because they won a championship. The Detroit Pistons with Chauncey Billups and Rasheed Wallace and Ben Wallace, were they a super team? No. The 2006 Miami Heat with Dwayne Wade. We could look at it and we could cobble together names that we consider all-stars or great players and say they had a big three or they were a super team. But by and large, what LeBron James has done in utilizing draft picks and young players and cultivating other players who want to win a ring, that has done more to create super teams than any other element in the game. So credit to him for doing it, and I do believe that he introduced doing it in a different way, but I'm not going to equate that with his excellence, his individual excellence as a player. Michael Jordan was arguably the best defensive player and offensive player in the game for the bulk of his career. That, aside from everything else, is why I would still put him ahead of LeBron James.
Look, fair points, Slick. I'm not here to argue with you because you made some sense there, but I'm also making some sense up here as well, man. I'm pushing back on the crab in the bucket mentality of fans just pushing at LeBron, saying, yeah, you created super teams. Meanwhile, every team you've ever rooted for from day one was a super team damn near. Even Charles Barkley understand that. And Charles is my dog, but I'm going to do my job. Man, Chuck's calling it's the pot calling the kettle black. It's the pot calling the kettle dark-skinned it did. And
Chuck started in Philly, went to Phoenix, went to Houston. He went chasing that ring, just like looking for that his own super team. I agree with you 100%.
Man, not even chasing it. Like, he landed in Houston, and we saw that a year removed from winning championships back-to-back, I remind you. He's sitting there with Akeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler. We get it. But you were born with Moses Malone, Mo Cheeks, and Julius Erving on your squad, as well as Hall of Famers. Then you go to Phoenix, you got 2 all-star players there as well. So, man, this super team definition, I need to see Acho for this one, because I'm not buying into, well, if it's a homegrown talent, because that's day one. That's looking at KD and Steph's birth certificate, 8 pounds, 11 ounces. Yeah, okay, they homegrown. Look at them now. Like me, I was 8 pounds, 11 ounces. I'm 250 right now. Look at KD and Steph. Not day one. Look at them now. That is a super team. But you want to say since they grew it together, that makes a difference? Hell no, by hook or crook. No matter how you got there, if you have that collaboration of talent, to me, that's super.
I think you got to go, though, back to Slick's point, because I don't think anybody would say that the Oklahoma City Thunder, whatever they were then, when they had KD, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, were a super team. No, but the headline would say that they were a super team. You had KD, Russ, and Harden all on one team. That's a super team. But you got to do your homework. Like, Slick makes a great point. Yeah. We would never have called the Pistons, the 04 Pistons, a super team ever in life. But retroactively, if you were to look at that squad, yeah, but they had Ben Wallace, they had Chauncey Billups. And just because you play as a superstar for a moment does not mean you're a super team type of individual. It's the same thing with, I have heard the same thing, Slick, in regards to the Bucks. Drew Holiday, maybe the best on-ball defender playing, plus Middleton, who's the real Batman, and the best player in the league, Giannis. They're a super team. They have a big three. Everybody calm down. Calm down. Because just 3 months ago, we were saying they ain't even have it. So, Sel, I just don't know if I can give you that one. Because to gauge a super team, you almost have to gauge it beforehand. You can't gauge it retroactively, or everybody would have had a super team.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Look, I'm going to judge you. Basically, if I hear super team out of your mouth from you, Slick, anybody out there, I'm judging you. Just like if I see somebody smoking cigarettes or they don't see their kids. You got judge in my head mentally. Just telling you that. Last year, Joe Judge showed his commitment to his team by diving on a fumble in the mud. I judge people like that. But how committed are the Giants to Judge? We'll tell you next on Speak for Yourself. Joe Judge is entering his 2nd season in New York. The Giants are looking to bounce back from a 6-win season. Daniel Jones, who? Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley are healthy. But 3 Giants have retired. Said, it's over, coach. I'm tired, boss. During training camp, and Kelvin Benjamin retired after being released. Duh. Saying he felt sabotaged in his brief time with the Giants. Judge still has a supportive management, but has been criticized by some outside the organization for his coaching style. So, Acho, is this a make-or-break year for Joe Judge?
Absolutely. And it's a make-or-break year, Sel, because when individuals come in doing things that are unorthodox, it's all good as long as it all works.
I hear you.
If you come in acting in a very atypical, unorthodox type of manner, now we have to see, are we winning or are we not? Because if we're not winning, then what you talking about? And if what you talking about ain't working, I don't even want to hear what you talking about. Let me go ahead and start with my analogy, because you know me. I'd like to talk in quotes and talk in stories and talk in
parables, too. Biblical.
Sel, I got a lot of different homies, right? And all my different homies try to get on these different workout kicks, different workout routines, trying to get in shape. Everybody will listen to a odd workout routine once. But if you listen to that different diet regimen, if you will, and that diet regimen says you can't eat red meat on days that start with T, and you can't eat salmon, but you can eat scallops, but no shrimp. If you come in with something very unorthodox and it works, it's all good. But if it doesn't work, now there's a problem. Joe Judge has come in with a very unorthodox coaching style. We're going to make you run laps. We're going to make you, although you're an NFL veteran, we're going to punish you during practice excessively for making mental mistakes. But the problem is, like the individual that tries the weird or unique diet routine, the Giants aren't losing any noticeable weight because they were still 6-10 last year.
Fat-ass Giant.
And so it works, and I'm cool with it if I start to notice some things, but I'm not noticing anything. Now, your boy's an analyst, so I had to analyze. I looked in, I did the blood work for the Giants, I made them sit to the body scanner, and they were 3rd in fewest penalties last year, and they were 5th in fewest penalty yards.
Okay, I can take this one.
Joe Judge did come in and say, I'm going to have a very disciplined team. But here's the thing, Sel.
I'm listening.
If I want a six-pack, and if I want some traps, and if I want some delts and some biceps and some triceps, I don't care about a lower cholesterol because you can't see a lower cholesterol. You can only see these six-pack and these biceps and these triceps and these traps. Sure, the Giants have a great team as far as penalties, but I can't see that. I see these dubs and these L's. And so right now, they still got a gut. And they need some abs. And Joe Judge ain't giving them no abs. Lower cholesterol, sure. Congratulations. They need some abs.
Oh, so you're just going to be tank top cute, huh? Stand up in the pool, dog. Stand up. Hell no, they keep that water right here. I know the fat game. Oh, Kelvin Benjamin retiring. Like, that's going to make me get mad at Joe Judge. Speaking of fat giants, Kelvin Benjamin, bye-bye. All right, here's the thing. Joe Judge is not in trouble. No, he is not. Judge a man by the distance traveled. 4-12. Giants the year before Joe Judge. Oh, that's all right. Giants, great organization. They won Super Bowl. Oh, 5-11 the year before that. No. This is the Giants. Come on, man. You understand that this team was better. 3-13. Wait a minute. Are you trying to tell me in the last 7 years, they've only had one season better than the season you saw in the rookie campaign for Joe Judge? Did I just say that? Yes, I did. Y'all better put some respect on Joe Judge coming in there. New sheriff, baby. You know with a new sheriff comes new laws. Law number 1, you messed up. Oh, you messed up. Don't mess around and mess around. That's what happens when you got a new sheriff in town, and I'm respecting that. I'm also respecting that his team was top 10 in scoring defense. Joe Judge. 6-10. Okay. Rush defense, top 10. Takeaways, rush. These are all the ingredients to something looking good. Cholesterol. You could die. Number 1 killer in this world. High blood pressure and heart attacks. You better watch that cholesterol. Number 2, you ain't old enough yet. It's coming. Number 2, red zone. And you black? Number 2, red zone defense in NFL last season. Number 2. Joe Judge out here getting it right. Let me tell you what Joe Judge is doing. And this is something that Dick LeBeau told Pete Carroll. And Pete Carroll said he struggled with this in his first time around with the New England Patriots, but he got it right with the Seattle Seahawks. Coaches need to have an identity. They need to have a philosophy. All the other coaches before Joe Judge, no disrespect to you, so I don't want to say your names, you didn't come in with the strongest of identity and philosophy. So therefore, things didn't work out. 4 wins, 5 wins, 3 wins, 6 wins. But do you look at Joe Judge? Yeah, it's unorthodox. Yeah, you may say it's crazy. It's crazy until it works. That's what they always say. It was crazy for me to go to Columbia until it worked, and I made it to the NFL. Joe Judge, you straight. No make or break for you. You just starting. Got to bring in Fox NFL analyst Bucky Brooks. So, Bucky, is this a make or break year for Joe Judge?
Absolutely not. I think Joe Judge has the New York Giants trending in the right direction. I'm going to go back to one of my coaches, I think one of the best coaches that I ever played for in the pros, and that was Marty Schottenheimer. And Marty in Kansas City used to tell us, before you can win, you have to know how not to lose. And what Joe Judge is doing with all of the silly things that we may deem to be silly, running laps and push-ups, he's trying to teach the Giants how to not beat themselves. And the quickest way to lose games in the National Football League, turnovers and pre-snap penalties. So what are you getting? You're getting penalties or punishments in practice when those things occur. Other things that can lead you to lose right away, mental mistakes, blown assignments, those things that the other team has nothing to do with, but they're things that you can control. So what Joe Judge is doing is he is trying to teach the team to control the controllables. And what I like about this, because it took me a while to come around and warm up to Joe Judge, but then I look at his history. Who are the coaches that he has worked under? Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, two of the greatest winners that we've ever seen. Both coaches are also process-driven as opposed to result-oriented. So he's trying to get the guys to understand the process of winning games. And that takes place on the practice field because if they master those things, the DBOs, don't beat ourselves, they're going to win a lot of games in New York.
Yo, that sounds great, Bucky Brooks, but here is the problem. Outside of Bill Belichick and Nick Sirianni that Joe Judge used as references, I don't think Joe Judge would have got the job.
Oh, man.
See, y'all know how it is when you go to a job that you are not necessarily qualified for, but usually at the top, they'll ask you for your references because they want to call and make sure that the places in which you've previously worked, you've done a good job at. If you list some big-time names, probably get the job. That's what Joe Judge did. He listed Bill Belichick. He listed Nick Saban. But, Buck, you know this better than I. Nick Saban's and Bill Belichick, rather, their assistants haven't fared all that well, Matt Patricia. Their assistants haven't fared all that well, Eric Mangini. Their assistants have not fared all that well. So I'm not out on Joe Judge, but we know it's a microwave society. Joe Judge, I think, did well for the Giants last year. 6-10, that's well. But the division was for the taking. If somebody would have told you Dak Prescott would get hurt, Carson Wentz would get benched, you'd probably be like, oh, snap, I'll take this one. Not only that, Dak would get hurt, Wentz would get benched, Alex Smith would get hurt, Daniel Jones would get cut. Not Daniel Jones, Dwayne Haskins would get cut. Yo, that's the Giants for the taking. And they did not take that. So, Bucky, we know it's a short-lived stint for coaches, and Joe Judge, already living in a microwave society, doing things atypically, I just don't know that he has an incredibly long runway.
See, here's what I like about the Giants, and here's what I think Joe Judge understands about New York and how they've won championships in New York with the Giants. Bill Parcells, tough, hard-nosed disciplinarian. Tom Coughlin, tough, hard-nosed disciplinarian. Those coaches reflect the city, and their players bought into those methods because they saw the success. So I heard you guys quote off all of these dismal offensive statistics that this team had a season ago. But yet they won 6 games because the defense balled out. And one of the reasons why the defense balled out is because they didn't beat themselves in several categories, and they played hard. But I think the telltale sign when we talk about the Giants, what are the players saying? When I read the quotes coming out of that locker room, hey, man, we're not built for everybody. Everybody can't play here. New York is tough. You have to be a tough-minded individual to endure the things to be successful here. And so Kelvin Benjamin, who was asked to come in at 251 but showed up at 268, he didn't want to do the things that they were asking him to do. Some of those other guys deciding to go away, hey, maybe it was too tough for them in New York. I'm not going to fault Joe Judge for running his program his way because the guys in the locker room certainly appreciate and respect what he's doing. So he does have some trust and some great communication skills with his team because they're buying in. That's all you can ask for as a coach.
Man, I'm going to end this with story time. Bucky brought me somewhere. I got to take y'all there, too. Oh, man, it's hilarious. Involving Marty Schottenheimer. Rest in peace, the great coach. But let's start off with Joe Judge once again and Acho. Come on, Acho. Since we live in a microwave society, doesn't mean you always have to use your microwave, brother. Oven baked ham, man. Get that thing in that oven, boy. Let that thing take about an hour to come out ready. And that's Joe Judge. He needs a little time, brother, and he going to come out ready. Listen to this line. The Giants haven't finished higher in the division since they won the Super Bowl in 2011. Let that sink in. Last year, this team was second in that division. They have not finished better in that division, even though they've had a better record since the Super Bowl win of 2011. 2 of the last 3 years before Joe Judge got there, you saw the point differential for this team, -110 or worse. It was cut in half damn near. 77, -77. Trending in the right direction, as Bucky said. Acho, you have this love-hate relationship with Joe Judge because, boy, you didn't like him at first, but you warmed up to him, be real, right? By the end of the season, it felt like you had love for him. Well, they haven't played any games, Acho, so still love the man right now. We'll see what happens going forward. My last point is this story I got to tell y'all, because y'all talk about Kelvin Benjamin. Supposed to come in at 251 and came in at 268. What? Okay, let me give y'all this. David Boston, y'all remember him, yoked up. Maybe he had a little help with that yoke. I don't know. But he didn't get caught. But yoked up. And I remember Marty Schottenheimer said, hey, David, first day of training camp, he came out, dog. His arms were so big, and he had these little tie-ups on him. Looked like Rambo, for real. And Marty said, come here, David, in front of the whole team. Marty said, how much you weigh right now? He said, I don't know, Coach. He had red contacts, and they had lightning bolts in them. He said, I don't know, Coach. Coach said, go back in there and come back out and tell us how much you weigh. He came back out. Guess how much he weighed? With muscles, though. 270 pounds. You can't play that position being bigger than the D lineman like me. Boy, that brought me back. Respect to the greats. Coming up, Kevin Durant won his 3rd Olympic gold medal and then proceeded to tell anyone who doubted Team USA why they were wrong. Acho, we'll tell you if we like KD's level of petty. Next on Speak for Yourself. Suck away 270 with muscle with 3% body fat.
Everybody who said we was going to take the L, they had some power rankings out. They had us 4th behind Slovenia.
Like this not our game.
Come on, man. Talking about they catching up to us. Like, are you serious? This skill is unmatched. You dig?
Slick Rick the Bucher is with us, but Acho, you know I love me some KD. You like Kevin Durant calling out his critics like you after winning the gold medal?
No, I don't like it, but I don't like it because Kevin Durant is right and his critics are also right. The two things can coexist. The critics criticize based upon what they saw. The men's basketball team lost to Nigeria. The men's basketball team lost to Australia, if I'm not mistaken. That is worthy of criticism. If you are that much more talented than the opponents, then you should not lose to the opponents. And in all honesty, when you win, it should not be close. In the state of Texas, Marcellus, there are classifications of football depending upon the size of the public school. 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, and now even 6A. If you play at a 6A school, a school of the likes of where Kyler Murray went to high school, Allen High School in Texas, you should not lose to a 2A team. Simply because you have greater numbers and thus you should have greater talent. And if you beat a 2A team, should we really be bragging about it?
Oh, wow.
You played a 6A school. With that being said, Kevin Durant, talk your talk. I'm not going to be mad at it, but your critics are right. At the end of the day, France, who you beat in the final game, has a population of 67 million. I would hope that the United States is better. Australia, saw them earlier on, have a population of 25 million. You could add up the aggregate populations of France, Australia, Spain, the Czech Republic, the teams that the United States faced en route to winning their gold medal, and the United States has more people than all of those countries combined. So yes, kudos to the U.S. men's team for winning that gold medal, a well-deserved gold medal. But let's not act like the critics were not right as well.
I'm going to say no. I don't like Kevin Durant calling out his critics after winning the gold, simply because he gave them the satisfaction of believing that they matter and that they were heard.
Your voice does matter, Slick.
To your point, Acho, about losing exhibitions, I mean, they're exhibitions. Do we keep track of what Bill Belichick's exhibition record is with the Patriots or Phil Jackson's with the Chicago Bulls. Yes, I know what our legacy is, but the circumstances with this particular team were different. Because of COVID, the season ran late. They formed the team late. They had very little practice time. Those exhibitions were utilized to figure out who should play and who should play with whom, and I thought that that was a smart move at the time. And ultimately, even after they lost to France, I cataloged all the things that happened in the last 2.5 minutes for them to lose that game. Extraordinary things that I did not expect to happen again. And let's face it, we're not just talking about the critics, because there was one particular name that was mentioned in that live stream. We didn't have it in the clip, but it was Kendrick Perkins.
That's my dog, Slick.
And KD and Draymond Green might as well have hung a gold medal around Kendrick Perkins' neck and said, here's one for you too. Because they basically pulled him up on the platform and made him part of this. And Perk literally crowed about it afterward. I am so thankful that my name and my personage was the first thing you guys thought of after you won a gold medal. So I don't know that what KD was after is what he ultimately accomplished, because he gave Perk a gift. Because I will tell you, and you both know this from the employer that currently employs Perk, they loved that. Like, we're going to see more of Perk as a result of that. It wasn't about being right or wrong. It was being recognized, and that's what KD did.
Look, I love what KD did, and I do respect what you guys said, because you're right. Like, Perk got to feel like he's worth $1 billion right now, because in the moment of them celebrating a fine moment like that, they thought of him. But I also don't want to give Perk too much credit in that moment, because I'm going to talk to all critics out there, including myself, when I criticize. All right, if you're a critic, you can clown somebody, but you're not protected from them to respond. You're not protected from them clowning you back. And if they clown you back, all of a sudden, you shouldn't feel anointed. Like, they proved you wrong. It's a weird psychology where someone who was actually wrong feels better about themselves. Think about that as I address this point. Kevin Durant calling out Team USA critics is a beautiful thing. These skills, you dig? KD is like, look, I'm tired of y'all always shooting at the throne. I'm the best basketball player on the planet, and I play for the best country on the planet. Now, everyone gonna say, you arrogant Americans. He's like, no. I'm just arrogant and happen to be American. It ain't because I'm American I'm arrogant. It's because of these skills, you dig? And that's why I love it. Kevin Durant is looking at everyone out there saying, why did y'all think Slovenia? Oh, y'all thought we weren't as good as Slovenia because Nigeria caught us slipping. Let me tell you how sorry Nigeria was. They were crumb cake. Like, y'all getting caught up in the politics and humanitarian issues. Shut up. I'm talking competition. Nigeria's sorry. This is what they saw in 2012 in London when they faced them. They beat them 156-73 by 83 points. Then they saw them again in the next Olympics. Oh, they better, y'all. They better. Yeah, we got to respect all our opponents. Blah, blah, blah. They beat them 110-66 by 44. Wait a minute, Acho. Let's go to Texas. Let's go to a 6A school that beat up on a 2A school, 156-73. Next time, 110-66. You think they taking them seriously? Then they get sniped. And then the critics jump in, Kate, Perkins, everybody. Oh, look at this. And think you protected from him to shoot back? Hell no, y'all better respect these skills, you dig?
I want the sound again, please. Producers, can we hear that Kevin Durant sound one more time?
I love that beard.
Everybody who said we was going to take the L, they had some power rankings out. They had us fourth behind Slovenia.
Like this not our game.
Come on, man. Talking about they catching up to us. Like, are you serious? This skill is unmatched. You dig?
This skill is unmatched, you dig, close quote. Only problem is Kevin Durant is wrong. And pride comes before the fall. He ain't fell yet, but he's wrong. 4 out of the 6 top 6 MVP voters last year in the NBA, non-American born. 3 out of the 5 first-team All-NBA players, not American born. The last 3 NBA MVP winners, not American born, with Giannis having won twice and the Joker having won. The skill is not unmatched, Kevin Durant. The depth is unmatched. Now, if you want to say that the depth is unmatched, you dig, I'll side with you on that. But don't tell me that the skill is unmatched, because one of the most skilled, if not the most skilled basketball players playing is actually Luka. Now, his country does not have the depth to support it, but the depth is where the United States dominates, because the United States' depth is where they are greater than all the other countries, and it should be. Again, 333 million is the United States population, 67 for France, 25 mil Australia, 47 mil for Spain, 11 mil Czech Republic, 211 mil for Nigeria. So the skill is not unmatched, you dig? It's the depth that is.
Yeah, Acho, you make a powerful point, and well said. For me, it's a matter of, are we talking, like, I'm not going to debate what KD said. I take issue with what he said when he said it and where. And we've all been through this. We all we do it on this show. We tell each other we're wrong, but we do it in the moment. Like, how many times do we have a debate about something, or we predict something, and then the next show the first thing we do is we talk about how, you know what, I got that right, I got that right, you got that wrong. We spend very little time on that, because ultimately it's not about what the result is. It's about, were you right in what you talked about in happening? And that's where, Acho, I think you make a certain point as far as the critics questioning Team USA at the time that we did. My great issue was, if anybody should be asking for an apology, if anybody should be talking to the haters, it's not Kevin Durant. It's not anybody who was on the team in those exhibition games, because a lot of the result there was the effort, energy, and the focus that the players had. If anybody deserves an apology, it's Greg Popovich, because no one got roasted more than he did. And there was a method to the madness of his approach. Yes, they lost those exhibition games early on, but he was playing everybody and sorting through his roster to figure out how they were going to play, who they were going to play, and what they were going to do. And they got better as the tournament went on, and ultimately found a formula that worked for them. And under all of the circumstances, and the criticism of, like, they were playing San Antonio's system. San Antonio has had a half dozen systems, and Greg Popovich is the last guy who would say, I'm going to force feed you this system. I mean, it makes zero sense, and it didn't fit with the way they were playing. They were playing very basic tenets for all NBA teams. But Pop didn't do that. What we saw from Pop was celebratory defensive slides going through the hotel lobby. And I personally loved it, because it said everything that I needed to know about what Greg Popovich ultimately did. Didn't have to say a word, didn't have to call anybody out, didn't have to give anybody credit that he heard them. He just went about doing his job and doing it the right way.
I know I didn't hear Slick say it's not about the results, and a but statement. Oh, it's about the results, and it's about your confidence in those results before those results even become reality. I love the fact that Kevin Durant gave it to us real before he cleaned it up and became an ambassador on the podium, on the world stage, and said something different. But on IG Live, you're going to get it raw, you're going to get it real. We can't get up here and get too sappy about sports. How come the guy can't just be a normal person who's just insanely great at basketball? That's how I'm looking at him. I'm looking at him like this. What did Lil Wayne say? It's no problem, baby, so I got him. It's just a victory lap. I'm just jogging. Like, y'all got mad at them for jogging to this championship. Oh, look at them. They weren't trying as hard. Oh, Nigeria beat them in an exhibition game. Y'all need to stop. I don't want to hear about depth. I don't want to hear about skill. No one has more skill than Kevin Durant. And Giannis even said it. Kevin Durant's the best player on the planet. Here's the real of this. Y'all mad at him because he got time for y'all. Y'all want to be protected from criticism because y'all critics. And look, Perkins, Slick, Acho, y'all shoot. duck. They gon' shoot back. Don't be mad at it.
Define skill,
Marcellus.
Sel, because we
Who's
have
more
to
skilled than him?
parse out skill or athleticism.
No.
Because we've already talked on this show about Luka and Luka's skill.
Luka has genius
skill
ability.
versus athleticism. I
giving them
think
all.
that Luka is just as skilled, if you're talking basketball skilled,
I don't even have
as
to go
Kevin
there.
Durant. Kevin Durant may be taller, he may be more athletic, but if you're talking purely skill,
It all adds
there
up.
are some other players that are more skilled or as skilled
Marcellus,
as.
this is what I need.
Okay.
This is what I need to know, Marcellus. You claim to have some Nigerian blood, and you have done nothing but kill the Nigerian
the
national
only thing I
team.
love more
And Giannis Antetokounmpo,
Don't worry.
every chance you get.
49
What's
now.
up?
49. He started the show at 61.
Hey, y'all know me. My best friend's the truth. The dude ain't got no kids. He ain't got no woman. He got $900 million in the bank. He listened to Donda early. Man, this dude living a different life than us. Respect KD for his greatness. Coming up, Baker Mayfield remains without a long-term extension heading into the 2021 season. We'll tell you what that says about how the Browns view their quarterback next. Oh, speak for yourself. Y'all just mad. Y'all ain't here. Baker Mayfield has 2 years left on this contract after the Browns picked up their 5th-year option on their quarterback earlier this offseason. As each day of training camp passes in Cleveland, it appears more likely that Baker Mayfield will enter the 2021 season without a long-term extension. Baker says he doesn't, quote, give a damn about the negotiations, but maybe he should. Bucky is back with us, but Acho, should Baker be worried about the Browns' commitment to him?
I said earlier that Baker is not worried. However, I think that he should be worried. And the reason I believe he should be worried is because the Browns may, unfortunately for them, not realize the value of Baker Mayfield. And I will be honest, I'll be the first one to tell y'all, as much as I love Baker Mayfield and the Browns are a perfect match. Outside of the Browns, I do not necessarily know where Baker could have this type of success. It's a weird dichotomy. Baker Mayfield is a fringe top 10 quarterback for the Browns. But as I look around at other quarterbacks at other teams, I don't know if I would rather have them or Baker. It's just a tough place and a weird place to be. I look at Baker Mayfield as an individual might look at jelly. Yes.
Would you say jelly?
Jelly. And here's why, Sal. Because with peanut butter, jelly's a great fit, and it's a great match. But outside of peanut butter, you don't really use jelly all that much. You might throw it on some bread here and there, throw it on a croissant there and there, throw it on some toast. But it's not the same match it is with peanut butter. Outside of the Browns, I don't know if Baker Mayfield can find the same value he finds anywhere else. So if the Browns do not commit to Baker Mayfield and the market dictates your value, then Baker Mayfield might find himself in some trouble.
Damn.
Wow. I never thought that Acho would be able to have a rational take like that about Baker Mayfield. I appreciate that, Acho, because that was really a facts over feelings take. Kudos to you. Because, look, I think this is one where Baker Mayfield does have to be a little concerned, but I think this is a situation where Baker can flip the script and get paid regardless of what we on the outside think. Because this, to me, is very similar to the Dak Prescott situation, where the Browns can play these games and wait and say, oh, we can get better. But what we have seen, Baker Mayfield has taken this team to the playoffs. He has won double-digit games with Kevin Stefanski. And if they run it back this year and he wins 11 or 12 games with Kevin Stefanski, it becomes harder for the head coach to move on, even though we can pick holes in Baker's game and say that, hey, he's a system quarterback in a perfect scheme surrounded by a star-studded cast. But if he continues to win games, I think you run that back and you sign up for it. So I can sit here and argue and say Baker Mayfield is not a $40 million quarterback, but if the Browns go back to the playoffs and they make a deep playoff run, you're going to have to pay Baker Mayfield whether you like it or not.
Yeah, he should be worried. I mean, I've been in this position before, obviously not at this amount, but damn. Everybody's been there before where you're playing for a contract, and stop acting like you ain't worried about it. I hate that. That false humility line, oh, no, I ain't tripping, dog. If it come, it come. You out there taking all this abuse, all these hits, your entire livelihood's on the line. You like, if it come, it come. I don't give a damn. Stop lying to me, Baker Mayfield. Listen, I've been engaged 4 times, and you know that. Acho loves to laugh at that. I don't know why. It's not funny. Those were all heartaches and heartbreaks. But Let me tell you what the parallel is to this situation, Acho, because there's a time in every relationship. See, you ain't never been there because you're super single. But if you ever evolve into your full humanity, beyond super singleness, you would get to a relationship. Dating. How about commitment? How about a girlfriend, Acho? Give me one. An Acho girlfriend, right? Now, y'all been dating for a minute. Few years, let's say 3 years. I don't know, Baker. And all of a sudden, there's going to come a point where it's like, where's this commitment? Where is this going? Now, Baker's going to get paid. Don't trip. Baker's going to get paid. Just like in my relationships, when we got engaged, they thought we were going to get married. However, there is a moment in time where they're sitting there like, when's the ring coming? When's the wedding coming? When's the date? And then when you don't get to that place, it starts to eat you up. He's in that phase right now, right before I got engaged. You know, when they're like, I know, he asked me. Speaking of engagement, congratulations to John Heller and Emily and John, E and J. Shout out to Brandy in the hood. Okay, respect to them. They just got engaged this weekend. That's our producer. Anyway, the point is, don't act like that's not a worrying time in anybody who's ever been in a relationship when they gonna get their ring. And that's the situation that Baker finds himself in.
So, the problem with your mentality is the same societal issue that is far too prevalent in this day and age.
What, I want too much money?
The three individuals, highly blessed individuals that were privileged and privy enough to share a relationship with you, they all got their ring. They got that commitment. And it all ended. So, all that time and energy they wasted hoping, praying, sleepless nights, hoping for this commitment, they got it. And it still ain't mean nothing. So why would Baker Mayfield waste all his time and energy thinking about a commitment that is a ways down the line? Call Baker Mayfield on wedding day. Call Baker Mayfield when it's time to hit a knee.
We going to Vegas?
But he's not going to sit here and waste all this time thinking about a future that is irrelevant right now. He could learn from your exes. Now, got to question their judgment because they are your exes. But he can learn from your exes, Sal, and he can learn a thing or two. Ain't no point in worrying about it. Now, I think that there is a cause for concern, and I've already mentioned that cause. But I already told you Baker don't need to worry. I just think that he probably should.
He's going to get paid.
Silly. Well, I mean, he has to worry a little bit because here's the thing. Baker Mayfield actually can control the outcome of this situation. The only thing that Baker Mayfield needs to do is chalk up wins. He has proven that he can win within this system. And it doesn't take Baker Mayfield playing outside of himself, meaning the Browns don't need Baker Mayfield to rack up 300-yard games for them to win. It has been proven. When they lean on the defense and the running game and the weapons on the outside, they certainly can get it done. When I look at this team, having been up to camp a few weeks ago, watching them, they're as talented as they come. This team is built to be a title contender. All Baker Mayfield has to do, manage the game, make a handful of plays each game, and the Cleveland Browns are going to end up in the winner's circle. And if he continues to chalk up wins like he has done over the last year, he'll get his money. And we won't sit here and argue. We'll talk about, is he worthy of being in that same club with Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes? It won't matter because the check will be deposited and he will be in that $40 million club because the Cleveland Browns are winners and they will not move on from a winning quarterback.
Yeah, man, if anything, he need to be happy that he got the easiest path to getting his money to the treasure, the path of least resistance. Think about it. Let's name all the money guys out there for real. Josh Allen just got paid. Lamar Jackson, Dak, Deshaun, and Patrick Mahomes. I'm probably missing somebody, but God, look what Patrick Mahomes had to do to get his money. Win a Super Bowl, go to 3 straight championship games, MVP. Deshaun balled out of control. I mean, out of control, even in the losing effort. Baker Mayfield ain't balling out of control like Deshaun Watson. Dak got an MVP vote before. Dak's been a beast. Baker Mayfield ain't doing what Dak does in terms of numbers. Lamar Jackson stopped playing, unanimous MVP. And Josh Allen, MVP consideration also, and had a stellar year. Like, Baker doesn't even have to put up any of that. Baker Mayfield is surrounded by so much talent. They get to put so much makeup on Baker Mayfield, he's going to be fine regardless. That's what this is. And if I'm Baker Mayfield, I guess I shouldn't give a damn because no matter where it goes, hook or crook, it seems like he's going to find himself at the top of that mountain. My exes did. See how that turned out for me. Coming up, Peyton Manning was inducted into the Hall of Fame over the weekend. I'm still mad at a couple of them. We'll tell you if he should be in the GOAT conversation next on Speak for Yourself. But they all kept the ring. Peyton Manning, oh my God. Sheriff headlined an amazing Hall of Fame weekend in Canton. Sheriff poked fun at rival Tom Brady, who was in attendance and caught a round of boos from the crowd. Oh, I love it. Brady's former coach, Bill Belichick, spoke to the Boston Globe about Manning and said he was, quote, definitely the best quarterback I've ever coached against. High praise from one of the best coaches in league history. So, Acho, does Peyton Manning belong in the GOAT conversation?
Absolutely. So when you think about the best or the greatest businessmen, once you get to a point of being rich, they all rich. Okay, so now if I want to figure out who's the best, I kind of want to go peak to peak.
Let's go.
I don't want to look at your gross income, because if one individual chose to retire early because he was satisfied or whatever the case may be, wanted to start a family, that's a different thing. So if we already know you're in an elite category based upon your greatness as other of the elites, businessmen and businesswomen, let's go peak to peak.
Let's go peak to peak.
And as I look at Peyton Manning's peak to Tom Brady's peak, it's comparable at worst or favors Peyton at best. Peyton's peak, he had 600 more yards than Tom Brady. Peyton's peak, same yards per attempt. Peyton's peak, 5 more touchdowns. Peyton's peak, 2 percentage points, or 2 points rather, a lower passer rating. So peak to peak, Peyton Manning was probably greater, or at minimum equal to Tom Brady. As it pertains to overall wins and Super Bowls, I get that. Tom Brady got it. But remember, Peyton Manning went to 4 Super Bowls with 4 different coaches. It's much harder for an owner of a company to have success with 4 different CEOs. So obviously Tom Brady, just based upon how we deduce greats, is the greatest.
Yeah.
But Peyton Manning should be in the conversation.
Certainly in the conversation. I always say Tom Brady's the GOAT because I just don't want to argue. But if you ask me who's the best quarterback of all time, it's Peyton Manning. It's not even a conversation for me. I played against both guys, and that's just my opinion. But to save myself my voice and my argument time and being in the barbershop all night, I just go with the flow and say Tom Brady. Because I understand that's a convenient argument and a simple one to make. It's easy. But then I get argumentative because I start hearing Aaron Rodgers in that conversation. And, you know, Dan Marino, who I played against, who was amazing as well. John Elway, I played against, is amazing as well, etc. You know, Steve Young, and then you go down Joe Montana. Then you start to realize, oh, well, if we're doing this, let's go on and do this. And that's give Peyton Manning his flowers. Peyton Manning has multiple championships. Aaron Rodgers does not, but he's in the GOAT conversation. Peyton Manning's not. Oh, Peyton Manning has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 MVPs. Who else has 5 MVPs in the entire NFL's history? No one. Want to know what that means? For 5 years minimum, because they don't give you the MVP every year. For 5 years minimum, they said, all y'all get in line. Now, Peyton, come here. You're the best of all of those guys. And all of those guys were amazing as well. No one else in NFL history is able to say that. So if you combine those two, a guy who has more MVPs than anyone else, and he has multiple championships, different franchises, why is he in the GOAT conversation? I understand if you don't want to make him the GOAT because you don't want him to be in a barbershop all night. But for me, Peyton Manning, best I ever played against on the field.
It's interesting, Sel, because Brady is the better winner.
Oh, of course.
But Peyton is the better player. Like, I played against both of them, obviously, later in their careers than you did. Peyton puts more fear in your heart than Tom Brady. Tom Brady might still beat you, but Peyton Manning will beat you mentally and beat you. Tom Brady, he just kind of gets it, and he allows everybody else to get it. But Peyton Manning, there's just something different. Again, you can entertain the argument, particularly with people that just want to be ignorant and just go ring to ring. But if you really talk about gameplay and talent and mind, Manning is in the conversation. I won't say he's better just because I don't feel like fighting nobody, but he in the conversation.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, Tom Brady's always going to be there at the end, giving his team a chance to win, right? He'll be there at the end. But you go against Peyton, you might not be there at the end because he's going to light your ass up, and the scoreboard's going to be affected. My last point, real quick story. Rocket. First half, we playing against young Peyton Manning. Rocket. Everything was run right. Rocket. Come out in the second half, he say, rifle. We say, oh, he said the R again, run right. He went like this, stuck it in that hand. Woo! Marvin Harrison, 99 yards, it felt like. We was like, that dude gonna be special. Congratulations, Peyton. You're my favorite. Coming up, Zach Wilson didn't think he played well in the Jets' first practice under the lights at MetLife Stadium. Well, we agree with you. We'll tell you if the pressure is getting to New York's rookie quarterback. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Rocket, rifle, ain't the same. The Jets took Zach Wilson second overall and traded Sam Darnold to the Panthers, making it pretty clear that Wilson will start right away. Wilson struggled in his debut under the lights Saturday in the Jets' green and white scrimmage, throwing 2 picks and leading the offense to only 3 points. The rookie quarterback described his performance as, quote, not great. So, Acho, are you worried the pressure will get to Zach Wilson?
No, but it's almost like, let's talk ball. It's the last block. Let's talk
ball. Let's go.
When you run, call it like a field scrape. All a field scrape is for y'all is a blitz coming from the outside linebacker and the inside linebacker from the field. Hence the term field scrape. You might worry about the outside linebacker getting to the quarterback. But if you got a beastie tackle, he'll get there first.
Okay.
So I'm not worried about Zach Wilson, the pressure getting to him. I'm worried about him being a rookie getting there first. I'm worried about him having a defensive-minded head coach getting there first. I'm worried about the dominance of the Patriots defense, the Dolphins defense, which led the league in turnovers, and the Bills' high-flying offense, all in the division, getting there first. I'm not worried about pressure getting to Zach Wilson. I'm worried about the fact that 6 out of the final 8 teams in the playoffs last year had offensive-minded head coaches. One had a special teams-minded head coach in Harbaugh, and the other had a defensive-minded head coach. Yeah, the pressure might get there, like that outside linebacker in that field scrape. But it's a whole lot of things that might get there first.
Good points. Good points. Zach's supposed to be nice, like not just talking about how he got drafted and watching the highlights. Oh, he's 11-1 at BYU. No, I'm talking about my boys that I know that no balls. They're like, nah, Zach nice. Okay, I'm respecting them still. Let me preface everything by saying this was a scrimmage. And I used to suck at scrimmages. You want to know why? Because the guy I'm going against, I go against 90 times every single day. So guess what? He's like, Wiley, not me. I don't even watch film on you. I watch you every day. That's what this defense was doing to Zach Wilson. Like, nah, B. And we know you in install. We know you through every step of your progression and while you're learning. The beautiful thing about going on game day and playing against somebody else is because they had to study up on you, but they don't know all the subtleties. They learn that on the fly. First quarter, oh, I could self-correct. This dude likes to do this. On film, he looked faster. On film, he looked stronger. Whatever it may be. Zach, you walked right into it, brother. First game against the guys that know you best. No anxiety. We're not nervous. We already know who he is. Easy target. Let me also say this about New York City, because I think a lot of people always say New York City will eat you up. New York City is a fire. It will warm you, or it will burn you. It warmed me. It took me from lowly Columbia to a second-round pick with first-round projections in a worldwide distribution in New York Times publication. So don't act like New York gonna eat you up unless you ain't doing that. And I think Zach Wilson's gonna go out there and gonna get it done. Coming up, the Sixers have been trying to move Ben Simmons all offseason. It turns out acquiring Damian Lillard is Philly's primary goal. We'll tell you if that will make the Sixers legit contenders. Next on Ben Simmons has made it clear that he wants out of Philly, and the Sixers seem more than willing to oblige. So far, the trade hasn't materialized, but according to report from The Athletic, Philadelphia's goal is less to trade Ben Simmons and more to acquire Damian Lillard. Ooh, Sacho. Damian Lillard make the Sixers legit title contenders.
Absolutely. You got a score, a bona fide score from the outside, create space for Joel Embiid. They were already legit contenders this year as a 1 seed. You add Dame, they're legit.
On ball, who? Like Coach Acho, who you got on ball? Who's bringing it up and down?
Dame.
Damn, what you gonna do with Ben Simmons? Oh, spot up shooter? Is that gonna work? I think it's gonna work too. There's just too much star power. The East is wide open outside of the Brooklyn Nets. That's it for us. Yeah, shout out to you, Milwaukee. We'll see you tomorrow.